Hey guys, so um, we're gonna go over observables today. Let's start with a simple material UI example of how you would pop up a modal, see, by just clicking, right? So this is your typical React Dev material UI stuff. Now you load in your, it's literally just, this is the sample code, you know. So you have your dialog, click button, handle close, go to close, set state, right? State, and then if it's in here, open. So this is, your typical thing, but right now, enter into the world of double clicking, because double clicking is it's a good way to go into observables. So let's see. We're gonna change the code. I already saved it a little bit, but we're gonna change the code into this. This now is code that does double clicking. As you see, we can double click. Oh, and we have our okay. So if I click once, nothing happens, right? If I click twice, something happens, right? So, okay. Now, how does this work? There's multiple ways to do double clicking, but how I did it is by having another. Oh, did this work? Oh yeah. So I have a priv click time, and on the click, I check if I set it and then check if what the moment that you clicked it is the difference between what has been saved and what has been clicked is over 150 milliseconds. Then it's considered a double clicking, right? This is your one implementation of how you would do a double click, right? So okay, that's all fun and games, and typically here it works, right? Yeah, it works. Now let's try to convert this, go into the world of observables. So we're gonna change the code one more time. So in this case, we changed the code to be using observables. Now, we've commented out the part that manages the state. We're now including these from the props. Again, I copied this code from some other place, and I've adapted it. So, yeah, full disclaimer, this is really not my code, someone else's code. I will put it's here. I'll put this on the video, whatever. So, yeah, again, not a lot changed, right? Again, if it's open, and then if you handle click, you click, right? So that's all. It's all fun and games. See if this works. It clicked, right? So anyways, it's not double click. This is just a click. Look, it's converted to be observable. Now let's see how it works. So now we follow a format that is kind of like a higher order component generating function. that is this with observable stream. Now, let's look at how this thing is created. Again, not my code. You could see this is, if you go here, you could find out how this person actually, goes through it more, but I'll just interactively go through it. Observable incoming is observable and triggers, right? Observable, you're passing in an observable. And then you're passing in triggers. Okay, well, let's look over here. You're creating an observable. And then you're passing that in along with the object of functions, right? Okay, so what is this? What is observables? Well, observables is a stream. It's a stream. It's like it's like you create these streams and they trigger other things to happen if you subscribe to them. You're observing an event. And if you observe events, you subscribe to the event, then you could do stuff. You could react to your events. Again, just read some more documents, then you'll find out more information on observables. But that's the gist of it. Everything in your paradigm, it's a paradigm shift. Change the way you think. So, if there's an event and you're interested in that event, you're looking at it, you're observing it until it happens. If it happened, then you could do stuff with it. You could say, hey, if this happens, I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to continuously do it whenever that event happens. There are multiple versions of observables, multiple types of observables. We're using one that's called a behavior subject. Funny thing about the behavior subject is that you could influence what's going to be coming in on the next event. Behavior subject is an observable where you could listen to it, and then also you could tweak what's going to be the next one. Wow, that's a mouthful. But, I mean, just let's look at the code. Alright, so we're going to do a behavior subject. We start, and this observable is going to start with this value, an object with a key called open, and the value is false. We say that is the variable that contains the observable. Typical convention, we end it with a $sign because each observable is a stream. You're looking at a stream of events, right? So it's called a stream. So S, and then you want to make it, a little fancy, so it's $sign. This is the convention that I would recommend everyone to use because this is not just in React, also in Angular as well. The reason why, also on a side note, Angular 2 is, if you don't do anything regarding calls, asynchronous stuff, it has observable baked in, so it's highly recommended that you do it. Granted, again, observable it requires a different a paradigm shift, so it's not easy to pick up. Let's get back into the code. So, we have click S, right? Now, we're passing that in, right? And now we also have this two trigger functions inside an object. We're coming in here. We're we're wrapping the component, which in this case is app component, and then we're returning another class. So this is your typical higher order component composing pattern. So it's a class because we want to touch the life cycle. Component did mount on that. We create this inner property called subscription, where we take the observable that's coming in and then we subscribe to it. Without this .subscribe, nothing happens. The observable is smart enough to check if there's any .subscribe that happened to the observable. If there isn't, then it doesn't do anything. It doesn't create that stream. So even if you create it here, it won't really grab onto things. Now, let's look at this. We do a subscribe. So think of this as like, your promises. Your promises are basically what this is in terms of notation. So you have typically a .then, right? Kind of same thing. .subscribe. What's going to pass into is a value of things that are being passed or emitted or generated. The value that's going to come in would be kind of in this form, right? So we come here, we set the state with this new value that's coming in. Conveniently, it kind of follows the same format as what we've been used to in the previous example, right? So we set the state of this component, right? Now, an important thing, I didn't know this before reading this really good tutorial, but you have to unsubscribe when the component is on mounting. I mean, it's a good life cycle point to unsubscribe. Without unsubscribing, you might run into memory leak issues. So I recommend doing that. And then we have our render. Yeah, that's also typical. Now, passing the props, passing the state, and passing the trigger function. What does the trigger function do? Well, now you have these two functions as props. Props into the component, right? So these two props can be used to influence the next values to be emitted in the streams, right? Yeah, so that's what happens. Okay, now let's take a look into this app. I'm scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. Here we are. Right. So now class app. Alright. These two trigger functions are here. We have the open, right? Remember, that is what we're passing in here, because on the did mount we get it and then we set it. Again, notice how this is asynchronous, right? Think of it this way. This is like your .then. When the emit actually happens, that's when this function gets run. Set that on did mount. Right. Okay. On close, we handle close. Right. What was handle close? Well, handle close was this. Again, asynchronous, because what it's doing is, hey, on the next emit of this stream, use that value. Typically in other, like, let's say normal observables, you can't do that. But on behavior subjects, you could. So we send it, right? Same thing happens here on the handle click. You open it, true, and then you open it, false. That's all you do, right? Because on this one, whoa, there's handle click. All right, so that's what this is, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to it, I guess, right? Alright, so that's it. This was kind of a sample video to test uh, the program, the OBS Studio, because I didn't know how it is. But yeah, this is it. In the next video, we're gonna go into how to implement double clicking. Okay.